Let's talk about the state of the Chicago Bears' new and improved offensive line and kind of see where I think the Bears go from here. So what is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, guys, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Let's hop into it. Okay, so we know free agency hasn't even started, and the Chicago Bears went ahead and made two very big trades and went and acquired a Jonah Jackson from the Rams and a Joe Thuney from the Chiefs. So that has completely sort of revamped the Bears' offensive line already before free agency even starts, and we still have the draft. So now you're looking at a projected starting lineup. Again, this is not final by any means because we still have the draft and free agency. But as of this moment, a projected starting lineup in your offensive line of Braxton Jones at your left tackle spot, Joe Thuney at your left guard spot, your center spot, again, it is going to be upgraded, but we'll say Coleman Shelton, but honestly, it should be empty. Right guard spot, Jonah Jackson, and then right tackle spot, Darnell Wright. Okay, so those are your five, really four, because that center spot is the one that is definitely going to be upgraded. So now what happens, right? What happens because the Bears really went ahead and said, look, we're not going to go all in on free agency because the free agent offensive linemen that are out there are just not good enough to be overpaying that much. So they took the other approach of getting proven guys who, again, may have some issues of their own, being injured, a little older, what have you, but proven guys, and they're going ahead and trading late round draft capital for that. I got no issues with it, folks, because look, to me, you have to get this offensive line right. And what better way to get it right than to get proven guys in here? Yes, drafting good offensive linemen, always a great strategy, probably the best strategy, but you have to draft good ones. They have to turn out, as opposed to getting guys who already we know are solid. So to me, I like the strategy. It's not a long-term strategy. It's a short-term one, right? It's a fix for a year to a couple of years, but this is way too critical to Caleb Williams' development, so you cannot mess around with it. So let's talk about what happens now in free agency. Well, I know for a fact the Chicago Bears are still going to upgrade the center spot. Everybody and their moms is talking about Drew Dahlman, right? We know Drew Dahlman is that prized possession. But it's funny because Ryan Poles, not saying he watches my videos, but he might have seen or heard that, hey, we're talking about it's Drew Dahlman or bust. Well, I'm going to make sure that I'm at least upgrading the offensive line a little bit before free agency starts. So that way, if another team comes in and takes away Drew Dahlman, it's not like I'm left high and dry with no other upgrades, because Joe Thuney's one heck of an upgrade, right? So to me, they're definitely going to upgrade the center spot. Hopefully it's a Drew Dahlman, but if not, you got a guy like a Ryan Kelly out there. We'll see. There is a pretty big drop-off after that. Not really very many guys that you can look at. But I'm expecting 100% we upgrade the center spot somehow, okay? But my real question is, do you still go ahead and sign other spots on the O-line, right? A Will Fries, a Mekhi Becton, a Kevin Zeitler. Like, these guys were guards. These guys were at positions that we just addressed. You still go ahead and sign them? And my answer is yes. I still think they do, because, again, you're allowed to carry, a decent number of offensive linemen. You need a backup at every position, sometimes two, and really nobody on this roster, again, outside of the four guys that I listed, are untouchable, right? Darnell Wright's going to be there. Jonah Jackson's going to be there. Joe Thuney's going to be there, and then Braxton Jones is going to be there. Kieran Amagaji, go ahead and throw him in, but for the most part, everybody else expendable. So go ahead and sign a Mekhi Becton. Go ahead and sign a Will Fries. Now, these guys might not want to sign with you if they don't know that they're starting. So my approach would, in fact, be to sign some depth pieces in free agency, guys that are okay with competing for the job, but are not guaranteed to get the job. Because, again, unless it's a clear upgrade, you really don't want to be doling out all that cash. So, look, Jonah Jackson isn't somebody that I think is a lock to start, just because, again, like, he's been injured and, he hasn't been as productive. So maybe you still can sign somebody that can start at the right guard spot. It's possible. Or Thuney plays the right guard spot. We'll see. And put somebody at the left guard spot. My point being is I'm still signing a couple offensive linemen minus the center in free agency. Okay, and the draft comes around, and here we go. Now we're cooking because I am going ahead and I am taking the highest upside guy, right? So, look, again, you might think this is overkill, but the trenches is what's important. Now, I will still say, though, draft comes around, right? You got a Will Campbell, you got an Armand Membu, you got a Donovan Jackson. Certainly, you got to pick up one of those three, right? But now you're flexible and you can go ahead and draft a running back, draft another position, and not have to worry that much about, oh my goodness, what about the offensive line? Because you have technically made some upgrades. So overall, what I'm saying is you can take some shots in the draft. You can go for some depth in free agency. A lot of doors have just now opened up for you with these moves that you have made. Ultimately, at the end of the draft, at the end of the offseason, I should say, if the starting offensive line group for the Chicago Bears is the following: Braxton Jones, Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright, I'm totally okay with that. But you can still slot in a Will Campbell instead of a Braxton Jones. Maybe, Ryan Poles looking for an upgrade already. He's not thinking that Jones is going to be dependable with his injury concerns. Or an Armand Membu, right? Him as well at the left tackle spot. So that's still open there. I mentioned about Donovan Jackson. So to me, that offensive line, that's a pretty solid group right there. I'd be pretty happy with that going into year 2 for Caleb Williams. So let's see what happens here. But folks, I love the moves that the Bears have made here because it just opens up so many doors, so much more flexibility. You're not handicapped as much as you were going into the draft and free agency. So let's see what happens here. But I'm excited and I can't wait. Let me know what you guys think about that, man. Assess the Bears offensive line in your opinion. Give me your take. Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks for watching.